guy that thinks he's fly, and he's also known as a buster. Always talking about what he wants, but he just sits on his broke ass. No, I don't want your number, no. I don't want to give you mine, no. I don't want to meet you nowhere, no. I don't want none of your time, no. I don't want no scrub. Scrub is a guy that can't get no love from me. Hanging out the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me. I don't want no scrub. Scrub is a guy that can't get no love from me. Hanging out the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me.
Well, my musical journey began at age 7 with some truly horrific violin noises and some incredibly tolerant parents. I ended up studying classical violin pretty seriously for the following 10 years, actually. Things got better. I ended up playing this sort of... As you can imagine, it's been quite a journey from Mozart's Violin Concerto in G to No Scrubs by TLC. And I've learned a whole lot along the way. One particular idea, however, has helped me more than any other. And it's only a little idea, but it helps shed light on a very confusing area of human experience, the area of taste. And I'm not necessarily talking about flavors, but more creative, artistic, beautiful things. So we're going to start with a super easy question. Okay, now do not be humble. Who here has good taste? Me too. Okay, let's put that good taste to use. I'm going to throw some things up here on the screen behind me. Just go with the first thing that comes to mind. So we've got 2 different fruits. Okay, which is most delicious? Apples? Nice. And oranges. Ooh. Okay. This is intense already. Okay. 2 artistic disciplines. We have figure skating and ballroom dancing. Which is more elegant? Ballroom dancing? Figure skating. Ooh. Okay. This one is going to be really controversial, okay? We got 2 fuzzy things. Which is cutest? Kittens? Ooh, okay. Puppies? Oh. Okay. Now, I'm really sorry to say this, but the correct answers are apples, ballroom dancing, and puppies. Come on, you said you had good taste. Okay, so that's the point. Taste is subjective. You like what you like. Your taste in things depends on your family, your culture, your life experiences, and your personality. It's really complex, but each one of us has these moments where something creative or artistic just resonates with us. It could be a song, maybe a painting, poetry, a novel, a film, like literally anything from a landscaped garden to a concept car, because creativity surrounds us. Yet there are some things that just really profoundly affect us. I'll give you a recent personal example. We were staying at my parents' place last week, and my mother is she's an amazing artist. So that's hard to do. But if I'm completely honest, it doesn't really This particular painting doesn't personally resonate with me. Sorry, Mum. One of her more recent paintings, however, stopped me in my tracks. I was like, I need to sit down and just take this in. And I did, and I would have climbed into it if I could have. But why these differing responses? Well, how do you even begin to dissect a completely subjective moment like this? Why one painting but not the other? Well, I've found two particular elements that can help us in amongst all of the complexity that is involved in the area of taste. The first is that on one hand, something needs to be familiar in order to be accessible to us. On the other hand, it needs to be different in order to be interesting. Let me put it another way. On the one hand, it needs to be known. It needs to evoke memory. It needs to be personally significant to us. On the other hand, it needs to be unknown. It needs to be challenging and fresh and provoke a response in us. And when we feel both of these elements together, when we experience both of them at the same time, we feel a tension between the two. And that tension, the beautiful tension between those two opposing things, is what lies at the heart of all of those experiences that we have. Now, in 2012, I made an outrageous decision to become a full-time musician. Now, it was outrageous because I had no money, no fan base, no record deal, no gigs organised, and no clue about the music industry. So I just started busking on the streets of Wellington. To top it off, I didn't even live in Wellington, so I was sleeping in the Hotel Corona at the time, like totally living the dream. And it shouldn't have worked, like absolutely not. But by the grace of God and the incredible generosity of strangers, it actually did. I've had some of the best experiences of my life busking on the street. Like dance parties like you wouldn't believe, just complete randoms, like we're going to dance now. Midnight sing-alongs with 200 people getting shut down by the police. I even met my wife when I was busking on the street. True story. So busking holds a really dear place in my heart. But the question of busking is the same one, really, as the question of the painting. Where do the moments come from? How do you even stop people on a street? I mean, like I said, it has to be familiar enough to be accessible. But are you really going to stop for this?
And maybe you're gonna be the one that saves me.
Well, in my vast experience of things, if you are drunk, you will totally stop. And you'll try and sing into my mic, and then you'll fall on my gear. But for most of us, it's just not fresh anymore. It's a legitimately great song, but it's become too familiar. And yet we've all had those experiences where we're walking along the road and we hear some unusual busker. Like, what are you doing? And they are legitimately expressing themselves from the heart, but it could be argued that it's just a little bit too different, too interesting maybe. Now, fortunately, taste is subjective, so everyone gets a few coins. But if you want to do something for a living, whatever you do needs to be accessible to a broad cross-section of society. Literally just anyone who walks down the road. So what could we do to that song that was too familiar to try and re-establish that beautiful tension? We're probably going to have to do something strange, and just for old time's sake, I'm just going to do this. Here's a bit of a pro tip, and if you're thinking about busking, this helps. And if you feel like getting involved, do not throw any coins, they hurt. Right.
you. By now you should have somehow realized what you're not to do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Backbeat the wetters on the streets that the fire in your heart is out. I'm sure you've heard it all before, but you never really had a doubt. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. And all the roads we have to walk are winding, and all the lights that lead us there are blinding. And there are many things that I would like to say to you, but I don't know how. Cause maybe you're gonna be the one that saves me. And after all, you're my wonder-wall. I said maybe you're gonna be the one that saves me. And after all, you're my wonder-wall. And after all, you're my wonder-wall. Oh, 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 oh.
Thank you so much. So you're too kind, thank you. For 3 years now, I've had the privilege of doing this for a living, just doing unusual things to familiar songs. And I've found so much validity in this idea of a beautiful tension that I've based my entire career so far on this idea. I've released 2 covers albums, but even as I continue my musical journey and release my own material, you can guarantee I'll be taking those lessons learned on the street, those principles, everything so far with me on that journey. Because whether you are a creator or an appreciator, we can all grow in the understanding of our own peculiar tastes. And when we do this, we'll be in a much better place to understand and maybe even appreciate the tastes of those around us. Because I would argue that the only thing more enjoyable than so-called good taste is the experience of sharing in these moments together. And I'm going to play a song now. One of my great-grandmother's favourite songs, actually. She lived to the good old age of, I think, 100. So it's got to be good for you. My only sunshine, you make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my
sunshine away. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy, even skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love. Please don't take my sun. Hey, hey, hey!
Thank you so much.